Oh man, this has been one thing to another. And what's up, yo? See what I
What's
mean?
up?
There we go. It's been one of these days. I don't know what the hell's going on for real. But I know this was meant to be. It's always something trying to happen, you know. You hear me well? No echo, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you good. Hear you good. Um,
Good.
well, family, the goal was to do this from StreamYard, but there was some technical difficulties that was going on where couldn't get it together. So for now, we're going to do it straight from here. Um, I had this whole little spiel that I wanted to say, but this is the very first episode of the C Note where we keep it 100 or keep it 100, wherever you're from, in Baltimore. You know, we're the real recognized real, and we also see those fake asses out there too. But you know, I had to say that. Anyway, well, this is the very first episode of the C Note, and you know, I was thinking about who I wanted to bring on as my first guest. You know, I was thinking about, you know, who is really down for the community and everything, and lives their life to uh, make a difference for the better. I thought about Mr. David Ross, who is not only a renowned poet and spoken word artist and an actor, he's also a licensed master social worker. Um, and he has a BA in what is it, dramatic arts. And, you know, I had my little notes right here, but that disappeared too. But anyway, I don't know what's going on. I have a notepad right here. That's gone. See?
You
So,
don't
yeah,
need no notes when you're a pro.
what you say?
I say you don't need no notes when you're a pro.
No, I don't even know. Well, he got his credentials and everything, you know. He's created, you know, some initiatives, you know, to help the youth out and so forth. And he is a published author of books and albums, CDs and so forth. And I may try to persuade him to do one of his pieces on here today. But he's a very talented brother, and I know he's going to leave some information where you can look up his work or maybe order his CDs while he's on it. He's also, in addition to being a solo artist, he has a group that he's a part of that uses poetry, you know, to in a socially conscious manner, which is the fifth L. With no further ado, this is Mr. David Ross, also known as Native Son.
Word.
Yeah. So one
Thanks for
thing,
having me for your first episode, man.
yeah, and you have to come back on again when I have my own little spot with a set and all that because that's coming too. I was actually working on that to have a location. Now, although we would have to be 6 feet from each other, I was
Yeah,
going to have it when we were in the same room, so I wouldn't have to deal with this shit. You know,
yeah.
it's all that type of stuff. So that is
How
the
was your
goal.
How was your birthday?
My birthday. I'm still claiming the rest of the month.
All right.
My actual birthday, I did go out for a little while, tried to enjoy myself, and some fucked up shit happened to
Oh
me.
man.
I did post it on Facebook, but then I deleted it because I came on and talked about it. What happened was, which I should never do in the first place, I had my back turned to the street. I had left the establishment that I was at, and I had my back turned to the street. So this car full of whoever was in the car drove by, and they decided to shoot people with a paint gun or whatever. Now I've never dealt with that paint gun stuff before. So when it first hits you, because it did hit me, it hit me and like four other people.
Yeah.
It stings you when it first hits you. So you don't know what's going on. It's like, what the fuck? You know, because you
Right.
don't know if somebody's like, I could have been a bullet for real. So it stings you, and it hit me in my back. Hit me in my back right here. And you know, when I came home that night, I did a live about it, and I showed the shirt on camera that had all this orange colored paint on it. My shirt was brown, and you could see the orange colored paint on it. And I didn't realize that that paint had also dripped down to my pants leg. to the next day because I had on black jeans. So yeah, that messed it up, you know. And I didn't really see who was in the car. Now, one person who was facing it, he said that he thought that they were. He said he thought that they were Caucasian. I don't know because I didn't see it. Anyway. Because I saw some people. I was out last night too, and I saw some people driving around. It looked like Caucasians. They had their faces painted some crazy type of way, and it's not Halloween at all. So I don't know what they're up to. You know, just gotta be very careful. What you say?
So I hope this not going to be a thing that they start doing now.
Yeah, it creeped me out because I saw them drive by the one that happened last night with their faces painted, covered up with white paint. So I don't know what the hell they up to, because it's now Halloween, like I said. So they're probably up to something sinister or whatever. And then that whole thing with being shot with a paint gun on my birthday, you know, that was messed up. But you know, and it did blow my mood for a second, you know. But hey, I got over it. But anyway, not here to keep talking about me. We're here to talk about the man of the hour. Now, before we get into all the artistic stuff, I wanted to ask you about the social work thing. Now, being a social worker, I wanted to ask you what made you go into that. And I know that most people who go into social work, maybe not all, but most people who go into social work, they do it because they care, right? Others may do it for the money or whatever. I don't know how great the money is in that field, whatever. But then, what's your specific reason for going into social work? Because for me, if I were a social worker, my specific reason would be to make a difference in the lives of Black children and Black people in general, to help us solve the issues that disproportionately affect our people. So what was your specific reason for wanting to be a social worker?
Yeah, my reason is not even that magnificent. I got into social work kind of by mistake. I was, yeah, although I do, of course I do care about the issues that we're facing, but it's kind of a long story, a long road, a trip to how I got to this point. As you know, I'm a poet, artist, and my poetry has taken me into some of the wildest different directions. And one of the places that it's taken me was to shock trauma. I was doing many years ago, probably like in 2002, 2003. I was performing at a anti-violence rally over at my Diamond Mall, and some folks were recording it, and they saw me and they captured me doing a poem on camera. And some months later, I was catching a subway, and this guy flagged me down. He was like, "Yo, yo, 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 yo." He's like, "You native son?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yo, I recorded you on camera. I work for Shock Trauma, and um, yo, we gotta have you down there. Like, I showed this video to everybody there, and they thought it was amazing. Can you come here and do what you did? Do that poem, for our board?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I went down there, performed for a bunch of
Stop acting like you shocked by that. You a powerful brother.
I was, and performed for them. And they was like, would you want to do this for some kids that we bring to the hospital to talk to them about healthy decision making and staying away from making harmful decisions? And I was like, cool. So I did it. And I started doing it voluntarily. Then they started commissioning me to do it. And then I brought my homeboy in, Femi, the dry fish, to do it with me. And the guy who brought me in ended up leaving the job. And he was like, "Hey, what do you think about taking over this program?" And I was like, cool. So I took the program over, started doing it, and developed some other initiatives there. And then it was like, what about doing bedside intervention with patients who got shot, due to violence? And I'm like, all right, I never did it before, but fine. At that time I was still performing full time, and I started doing it, and they were telling me that I was good at the job. So I kind of ignored it. I just kept doing the job. It was paying. And then a social worker who told me that I was good at the job. She was saying you should go back to school for social work. I kind of dismissed it. She left. Another social worker came. They were like, "You're good at this job. Like, you should really pursue social work."
Right.
I was like, "Yeah, I don't know." And she left. You know what I mean? And mind you, so, a good amount of time has gone by. Like they worked there for a while and they ended up leaving. The third one came and she was like, "You should go to school and be a social worker." I was like, "All right, look, I'll do it if I can get it to University of Maryland and if the job pays for it."
Right.
And both of those things ended up happening. So I went back to school, aced my studies. I was never good in school, man. Like not, I wasn't
Oh,
a
for
great
real?
student. I was an okay student.
And I don't
And
hear I was. I always thought you was this brilliant brainiac type
nah,
brother.
man. Nah,
Okay.
I'm not that. I'm not that guy. But
Okay.
I did well this time around, and so
But
I
you're still
graduated
intelligent.
with a master's
You're
degree,
still an
man.
intelligent brother, though. You're very intelligent. You may
Thank you.
not
I
be
appreciate
you might not
that.
be a brainiac with all the books and all that, but you intelligent where
Yeah,
it count.
I
In life,
appreciate that.
you're intelligent
Yeah,
in life. Yeah. So
I appreciate
what do you
that.
think?
But I mean, that's how I got to being a social worker, man. And I've been a social worker for 2 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So tell me about some of the initiatives that you started for the youth to help the youth.
So man, how far back do I go? Femi, the dry fish, and I, from years ago, in addition to performing, like we love
Yeah.
being on stage, we love
Before you
performing
get into
music.
that, right quick, talk about the group that y'all have together, and then tell that story
Yeah,
about the
so,
Fifth L. And how did you come up with the name the Fifth L? And what does that stand for exactly? The Fifth
yeah.
L.
So wow, it's a lot. So, yeah, we're in a group together called the Fifth L, which is actually short for the Fifth Element. The Fifth
Okay.
Element is hip hop. And so which is spoken word, and
Right.
it was five of us initially,
Hmm.
and the rest of the members ended up going their separate ways, and then Femi and I, we held the Fifth Out flag down. So
Okay.
that's how we got the name. Sir Raines, who was a member of the group, he actually came up with that name. And because I think the Fifth Element was one of his favorite movies. I think that's why he named us
Right.
that. But that's where that came from. So now it's just me and the dry fish. Yes, we're still cool with the other guys. Um, so we would do performances, go around the country performing, but we also develop these creative writing workshops with students.
Okay.
And so schools would commission us to come out to do these creative writing workshops.
Hmm.
With kids and teach them how to perform and do their own poetry and to really express themselves. And we also help them to become self-published, publish their own books, their own
Right.
writings, their own works, so that they can put their stuff out there. So that's one of the major things that I think I'm most proud of that we used to do, because I see a lot of those
Okay.
students now, they're adults, and you're seeing them in the streets.
Wow.
It's like, wow, man, like I'm showing my age, but um, so that's one of the things.
It's not that high of
Also,
a number though. But go on. It's not that high of a number.
yeah,
We're gonna talk about
uh,
that a little later. About the horse and buggy days.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
The late 90s.
yeah.
Not 1890s,
So,
but 1990s, of course. But yeah.
yeah. So that's how that came about. Yeah.
uh, yeah. I cut you off though. You weren't finished. Were you finished with that thought?
Yeah, pretty much. That's one of the most things. I mean, we've done a lot of stuff when it comes to youth. A lot of just um things to engage them in a way where um to I guess engage them and communicate with them on a level that maybe they aren't
Hmm.
used to adults doing. And part of that is like for Femi and I just remembering when that we were once kids and
Yeah.
trying to recall like what that felt like, what it was like, and
Hmm.
not talking down to them, but just giving them options,
Right.
exposing different options to them, and
That's
that's what
very
it's really
important.
about. So
That's very
yeah,
important.
yeah,
Yeah, because one of the things that I said when this whole George Floyd thing happened, because there was a Zoom meeting through the arena players, which that's where we met. Um, we were both New kids on the block and shit. But anyway, they did a Zoom meeting, and I was one of the people that was asked to be on there, and I did speak. And one of the things that I said was that we cannot pass on the torch of oppression again to another generation of Black children, which is important to me. We cannot keep passing on the torch of oppression like it's an Olympic event, passing on the torch of oppression to the next generation of Black people. Everybody want to keep saying, well, it's not going to happen in our lifetime. We got to pass it on. And to me, I think that's very selfish that we keep passing it on and passing it on and not just trying to stop it, because we need to stop it. I don't want to see another generation of Black children, Black people grow up. I don't want 50 years from now for our people to still be going through this. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure our grandparents and great grandparents and so forth thought that this shit would be over by now. They probably didn't think that their grandchildren and their great grandchildren and so forth was still going to be going through this, but here we are. We're still fighting the same things that they were fighting for. We're still going through the civil rights movement, all you know, and so that's really frustrating. So I forgot what I was going to say to you, but how do you feel about, you know, working to not pass that on to the next generation of Black people? And I'm not saying I don't care about anybody else, but you know, I never made a secret that my first priority is our people. It's not that because some people think that I'm sitting around hating people. I don't hate anybody. I just have my priorities straight because I feel a connection to our ancestors and so forth. So for me, my first priority is making sure that Black people are happy, healthy, and whole. And then I can worry about other people. But until then, my focus is on us. Until we're together, I can't be concerned about other people outside of us. And that's not based on hatred. That's based on survival. That's where I'm coming from, because I want our people to survive, because there are people out there that have an agenda to get rid of us or to wipe us off the face of the earth. That's just real. And so I want to protect us the best way I can. And, you know, that's why I use my artistry as an actor, as a screenwriter, as a singer and so forth, to use that to try to empower our people, to make us love us, because we already love everybody else. Our people already love everybody else. We show love to most everybody else, even when we don't show it to our own people. You know what I mean? We have compassion. We have big hearts for everybody else that we don't always show for our own people. The forgiveness that we give to others, we don't always show to our own people. We will hold petty grudges against our own people, but forgive everybody else for everything. And, you know, so how do you feel about the importance as an artist to use your artistry to, you know, make a difference, to empower and heal, not just try to make, because it's not about trying to make us get along with people, because we're not the problem when it comes to other people, because we're not perpetuating the issues between us and other races and so forth. We're not the ones that started that discourse, or that discord rather. So that's why I feel like it's important to try to inspire, use your artistry to inspire self-love within our people, because one of the biggest issues, or one of the things that stems from the issues that plague our community, is self-hatred, the lack of true history and so forth. Because if we really knew who we were, and we knew the things that we've done and where we come from, and not just slavery all the time, it would make a world of difference. I've seen it for myself, because I've been asked to be on panels before where I was talking to youth before, different ages, all the way from older elementary school children all the way up through high school, and somebody who was about to go to college. And I was on this panel when I spoke to these Black youth, and I was telling them about our history, some things they didn't know about, and the fact that our people were the first at many things. You know, a lot of times nowadays you hear the first Black person to do this, the first Black person to do that, and a lot of Black people get excited by that. Well, for me personally, that kind of irritates me, that we still have to say that. You know, in 2020, the first Black person to do this and do that. I don't get excited by that, because we were the first to do a lot of things that we don't get credit for. And when I was in this room and I was telling these Black children about some about the things that we've done and that we were the first doctors and so forth, the first physician was a guy, I think from Kemet, Imhotep, if I'm not mistaken. And I talked about that type of thing. I also talked about the Black towns that were built, where Black people did work together successfully. And we built our own towns. Because a lot of times nowadays, Black people don't think that Black people ever work well together. Because I see what other Black people say about they can't stand working with other Black people. I've seen that. I've seen people post stuff like that, which that bothers me. That hurts me when I see that stuff that Black people say they don't want to work with other Black people. That's why, you know, when I talk about bringing together an all Black production team, that's one of the reasons why, because it's important that Black people see Black people working together successfully. It's not based on trying to hate anybody else or trying to cut somebody else out. It's important for us to show Black people working together successfully. That's why I want to have, you know, an all Black production team. And, you know, when other races do stuff like that, like if Latinos were to get together and have a Latino, or all Latino production team or so forth, no one would have an issue with it. No one would have an issue with it. But it's only when someone Black says something like that that people have a problem with it, and we get accused of being racist and all that kind of stuff. Which, if you know the definition of racist, Black people can't be racist because we don't have that power. Now we can be prejudiced, and in my estimation, if we are prejudiced, it's justifiable to a certain degree because of the things that continues to happen to us. Like I've had my own run-ins with police over the years, which I've talked about on live before a while ago, and I've talked about being physically assaulted by racist cops and so forth. Like one night, a long time ago, when I was living on Calvert Street years ago, I came from a late night rehearsal, and you know, I was hungry, so I went back out to go to this place that was 2 blocks away from my apartment. And all I wanted to do was go get something to eat and go back home. I didn't get to go back home that night. I ended up spending the night in a jail cell, all because this cop wanted to fill a quota of arresting Black men. So, you know, I told him, because he claimed that there was like 5 other Black guys out there, and there was a bus stop there. He asked them if they were waiting for the bus, and they said yeah. He said no, they weren't, because he said he drove around there several times that night, and that they were out there for a long period of time. Well, even if they were, they weren't bothering anybody. They were just sitting on the bench talking to each other. But I had just gotten there. I wasn't even there for a whole minute when this cop pulled up. So when he was asking them those questions, I figured he wasn't talking to me. And so I walked away and went in the carryout to get my food. And he came in behind me and he said, come on back outside. And I said, officer, you said that you drove around here several times tonight and that you saw them hanging out there for a long period of time. Then you would know that I just got here. I wasn't out here before when you drove around here. How many times you said you drove around here? I wasn't out there. And he said, either you can go the easy way or the hard way. That's what he said to me. And I proceeded to tell him because, you know, I suffered a brain injury as a child. And at this time in my life, I was, you know, on a seizure medication at the time called Dilantin. And I was supposed to take a pill in the morning and a pill at night before I went to bed. And all I did was tell him, I said, I am on seizure medication and I don't have my medicine with me. And that's when he took his hands, both of his hands, and he grabbed me around my throat. He grabbed me around my throat. And there was a time I couldn't talk about this without getting emotional about it. He grabbed me around my throat with both of his hands. And his exact words were, I'll make you have a fucking seizure if you don't do what I said. And so, and he said those exact words, including the F word. And he put those handcuffs on me and put me in that paddy wagon with the rest of the guys. And when he got to the police station, he was laughing with his coworkers. And he said, oh yeah, I got me a lot of them tonight. I made my quota. That's what he said. I made my quota. I like to keep the boss happy. You know, those were his exact words. I'll never forget that. You know, so I was very furious that night when that happened. And I had to spend the night in the jail cell. You know, I was let go the next day on my own recognizance. We had to go through going to court and all that. And, you know, the charges were dropped and, you know, clean. He didn't even show up in court. He didn't show up in court because I was trying to pursue a case against him. At that time, I tried to pursue a case against them, and I was trying to fill out paperwork. They kept giving me the runaround. They kept giving me the runaround, trying to protect him. So I wasn't able to ever, bring a case against him like I was trying to do. But he knew that I was trying to pursue a case against him. I guess is why he didn't show up in court. And I had people back then who were vouching for my character, the type of person that I am. People that had some influence. So that's probably why he didn't show up. But I'll keep talking about myself. But yeah, I was asking you about how important do you think that it's a responsibility of a Black artist to use their artistry, their talent to help our people, to awaken our people to certain things? Do you feel it's a responsibility, or that it's something that Black artists can just, shirk off, throw off their shoulders and not think about it? Because that's what a lot of Black artists today do, because all they care, well, I'm not gonna say all, but some of them, their main concern is getting that bag, as they say. And, for me, yeah, I want money because you got to have it to continue to live and stuff like that. But that's not my main priority, is getting money. My main priority is doing what I can while I'm here to try to awaken our people. Like my film that's out there now, The Eternal Extra, that's gotten into 3 film festivals, and it's a semi-finalist in a festival that's going to be online. It's coming out of New York. I was excited about going to New York to see my film play in New York, but because of COVID, that can't happen. So everything has to be virtual. And so it's a semi-finalist as a best short film, and it's all dependent on the audience. The short film that gets the most votes wins the Audience Choice Award. But anyway, the main message in that film is for Black people to realize the power that we have within ourselves and to stop giving our power away. And that film also came from a lot of real life conversations I've had with things that people have said to me about how I should tone down my pro-Blackness if I want to succeed as an artist. I've heard that from some people, and I've heard people say that they agree with me, but I should stop, even though I'm speaking the truth, that I should stop it. Stuff like that. And I've also seen posts from other actors on my page, like really upset because they didn't get parts they didn't get an audition, and they started doubting themselves and saying like, maybe I should give this up. Am I good enough, and stuff like that? Because I remember reaching out to this brother who's an actor on my page, and I told him, that he should never let anybody make him feel like he's not good enough. I said, just because you didn't get a part in this person's film or whatever, doesn't mean that you weren't good enough, or that doesn't even mean that you were right for the role. It just means that they have a certain vision for what they want in that role. It doesn't mean you can't play it. And I went on to tell him, because I wanted to play Walter Lee. That's been a role that I wanted to do for a long time. And somebody stopped me from playing that role, only not because they didn't think I could do it. It was because of my complexion. Because they didn't think I was dark enough to be Walter Lee, which is crazy to me. But so I said, I'm going to do it myself one day. And I ended up doing it, and we got a really great review, which I shared on Facebook, the review that we got. But here I am, keep talking about myself. That's not a good host. But it was tied into something. How do you feel about the responsibility of a Black artist using their artistry to help out people, enlighten them, of course?
I mean, I don't know how much of a responsibility it is, and I mean, I don't even know if people shrug their shoulders off as much, but I do think that it's our responsibility to humanity, for all of us, to just, as a person, not necessarily as an artist. I mean, you could be a flight attendant, but it's your responsibility when you see an injustice occur to, not necessarily, not saying that you have to be aggressive and act, but to be supportive and assertive, and making sure that justice takes place if you have the power to do so. I feel like for Black folks, we're not a monolithic people. In Africa, they war against each other in their countries just the way we do right here. And People
Well,
don't get
that,
along. People disagree. But overall, I think just for the sake of humanity, like if you don't have any um, empathy in your heart or any hope to push things forward in a direction that's beneficial um, to people who are disfranchised, to people who are discriminated against, then I mean, just as a person, not even as an artist, just as a person, like what does that say to you about you? And the things that you want for yourself. How can you sleep at night knowing that these injustices occur regularly? You know, so do I feel like it has to be expressed in the art? I don't know. I mean, because that's what art is. Like, you
right.
know, you create something. Does it have to be intentional with that in mind? I don't know. I think
Yeah.
every person's for themselves. Does it show up in my work at times? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But also, excuse me.
Bless you.
Sorry. Well, thank you. But also in my work, you know, I like to have fun, you know, so I think it could
Mm-hmm.
be a number of things, all at once. You know, I don't think we
Right.
necessarily have to live in a vacuum, but even if it's not showing up in your work, what is it? Is it showing up when the cameras are off, when the mic is off? That's what's I think is really
Mm-hmm.
more important than anything.
Well, yeah, it's absolutely important. It's not just about on camera, because I'm about it 24/7, even when no cameras are around. What I wanted to say about Africa, yeah, we're not a monolithic people at all, but there was an understanding because there's this principle called Ubuntu, which means I am because you are. Um, and even though, you know, they don't agree on everything, they did have an understanding and respect for each other. A lot of that division that goes on amongst Africans now, um, that division was caused, intentionally, like what happened with the slave trade and stuff like that. When people want to say that Black people sold off their own people, we didn't really sell off our own people. There was a manipulation going on. What happened was they showed up there, with their version of the Bible and so forth, and they would do things like they would go to one tribe and they would whisper lies to one tribe about another tribe, and then go to another tribe and whisper lies to that tribe, and to cause a division. So even though we're not a monolithic people, there was a respect that was there. And a lot of the division that was caused was actually caused by whatever you want to call it, colonialism, colonizers, and so forth. But I'm not going to get hung up on that. I
Mhm.
just wanted to, let that be known, because there are some Black people that believe that Black folks or Africans were just out here just willingly selling each other, or went along with it. But there was a lot of manipulation going on that they didn't know about. And they didn't know about the fact that their people were being brought over here to be brutalized.
Mhm.
Um, there was an understanding, because what they did back then, some people called slavery. It wasn't slavery like what happened over here. Basically, when somebody would commit a crime, they were made to work that crime off, but they could work themselves out of it. They could earn their way out of that. So it was basically just like, working your way back to freedom, whatever, when you commit a crime. But they weren't over there like brutalizing each other to coming over here. There was this thing where they were told that, they just wanted to, I guess, have people come over here and do some work, and they were under the intention that they were going to be sent back after a certain amount of time. And I remember reading something a while back about where, you know, um, somebody just texted me. Uh, I remember reading like a while back where when they got wind of the fact that they weren't sending the people back and that they were being brutalized, that they did try, that there were Africans who did try to fight to get their people back, to get us back. Um, so I just don't like having that narrative out there that the Africans didn't care and stuff like that. Because, even like with the whole thing, I know you may have heard of the Uganda thing where they had the so-called kill the gays Uganda bill. I don't know if you ever heard of that or not.
Mhm.
Well, there was a bill a few years ago called Kill the Gays, Uganda bill. Now, a lot of Black people looking at that from the outside, they think that that's just Black people or Africans just being hateful towards other Black people because of their sexual orientation. But what they don't know is that there was a white missionary by the name of Scott Lively who was behind all of that. He went over there with his, with the Bible, and he taught them that God doesn't love them. And he is the one who spearheaded that. He taught them that God doesn't love homosexuals and stuff like that. And he's the one who spearheaded that bill, encouraged them to have a bill where they would kill other Africans based on sexual orientation. So it was a Caucasian man that was behind all of that. But people don't know that. Yes. I want to get on something lighter. Serious things.
I actually got to jump off in a minute. So I got another obligation, but sorry, I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay. So I know you don't have time to do no peace right now, so I'm gonna have to have you back on. But yeah, so I wanted to get back to the poetry and stuff right quick, the acting thing, where I know you're still doing poetry and you actually have out with the group that you're with right now. You don't have a solo project right now, but you do have previous solo projects that people can go look at and they can order if they want to, which I want you to tell them about that before you get off here. But you're also an actor, which you haven't been able to do in a long time because you've been tied down with your regular 9 to 5 and so forth. And I know you've expressed the fact that you want to get back to acting. So when are you gonna make time for that? I mean, like I made reference to earlier, you and I met back in the horse and buggy days when you kids on the block back in like 1997, and we were new at Arena Players. And we met doing this play called Rosalie Pritchard. That was the very first play where we actually had to portray these Caucasian men. We had on white masks, and we had to talk in our best white man voice. And in this play, they rape a Black woman, which Miss Bonita Gross played that part, which me and her chat on here a lot, back and forth. And she was also shout out to Bonita. And then the other play was Fear Itself that you were also in, which I remember that as well. And somewhere there's a videotape of that out there, which I would like to get that. Fear Itself. Yeah. And I actually talked to Brian Bagley last night. Too. He remembers you, and he said that he wished that he could get a hold of the script, A Boy Called Man. That we all did together. He would just like to read the script again. That was a very interesting time, where, when I was first in A Boy Called Man, when I first was asked to do the part that I played, which I haven't played that type of role in a long time because I played a character that was a bad boy. I played a bad boy named Monte Cristo Smalls. And Monte Cristo Smalls had a best friend who went by the name of Man. Man was the good boy. Monte Cristo was the bad boy. And I think Monte Cristo, he killed Man's mother, if I remember correctly.
That was a wild script.
Yeah, he murdered his best friend's mother, and then he laughed about it in his best friend's face. And so his best friend killed my character on stage.
Daryl Wharton. So shout out to Daryl Wharton.
Shout out to Daryl Wharton. And, the guy who directed the play, well, rest in peace to him, Mr. Daryl Croxton. I'm not going to say anything about those rehearsals, but they were quite interesting. So when do you think you're going to get back into acting? You can't keep letting it go. It means you got to get back in there.
I don't know, man. Like, I need a moment. Like if I'm involved in something, I really want to fully commit to it. And so if I feel like, and when I say commit to it, commit to the rehearsals, to, studying the lines, researching the character. Like, if I don't have the space to do all of that, where it's just like blocked out, where I could just focus on that, then I feel like I want to be respectful to the cast, to the people who's doing it, to the playwright. Like, and so I won't sign on to anything like but I want to do something, but I feel like at this point in my life, like I just don't have the time or the capacity to commit
Mhm.
fully the way I want to. Back in '97, I was fresh out of high school. I ain't had much going on, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I had the time to commit in that way, to something like that. Um, yeah, because I mean, I take theater very seriously, acting very seriously, and like I'm gonna give it my all, and I feel like it takes a lot. It pulls a lot from you. Um, or me. I shouldn't say you. I'm trying to get over like doing those pronouns where people try to project what they're feeling. So
Right.
it's more me. Like it's difficult for me to give something like a halfway kind of thing. I mean, some people are able
Well,
to
yeah.
multitask, but I'm not great at multitasking. Like
Right.
I give something 100%. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I give my all to everything that I do too. I'm not about half stepping in anything, but of course, I'm the type that's always been involved in like 2 or 3 projects at one time,
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah,
like
God
that.
bless
So,
you. Like
um,
I cannot multitask to save my life.
right. So that's something that I've always done anyway. So it's very important. But hopefully you'll be able to make the time for that sometime soon because I want to see you do that again. Because I know when I first started Royal Who's Melanin Manor 5 years ago, um, when Damien, who was also a part of Fear Itself,
Yeah,
you two actually played the same role. Um,
yeah,
and he came in with me and the sister Tamika to be a partner in my theater company, and then he disappeared after a while because I think he started going to uh, um, a theology school or something, studying to be a
mhm,
minister or something like that. So that's why he kind of disappeared or whatever. But we're still cool and all that. But yeah,
mhm,
I just want to make that happen again. Because crazy things are happening.
yeah,
And just like a couple of weeks ago, lost a good friend um, named Marty,
yeah,
who was a very talented actor,
yeah,
choreographer, dancer, and singer. And he was only 31 years old.
yeah,
And um, that was really a shocker that he's no longer here. So just
yeah,
can't take time or your good friends and family for granted. It was very important. And if there's something that you want to do, again, make it happen. Just make it
yeah,
happen.
yeah.
It's very
So what's up,
important.
man? Yeah, yeah, man.
Yeah.
We know each other for a long time, man. I love you, man. And you know, I feel like you never know why you meet certain people. We come into
Right.
contact out of I mean, during my time at Arena Players, I came across a lot of people, but for some reason, you and I, we clicked,
Yeah.
and you know, I'm glad to have you as a friend, and maybe we haven't even fully found out what our purpose is for knowing one another. Maybe that'll come, or maybe it's many purposes. You know what I mean?
Many
So
purposes. Yeah.
who
I mean,
knows? But
well, well, it's something that I mentioned to you recently before you go, um,
Mhm.
about us working together, recording a song or two together, where
Yeah,
you do your real rap thing, spoken word thing, and I do the vocals thing. So I definitely want to make that happen uh, sooner
yeah,
rather
man.
than later. Definitely.
Yeah, man. If schedule permits, I'd do anything for you, man. Like when I'm able to, I'll step in for you. It's not
Yeah.
always easy to do so, but I think that would be pretty cool, for us to get together. It's
Yeah.
not the I feel like we recorded something before, like way
Well,
long ago.
we talked
Yeah,
about it.
we were
We had
planning it or
talked about it.
something.
It was
Yeah,
it was a song that I wrote. It was
yeah,
kind of it was kind of a suggestive song
yeah.
called "Touch Me There,"
That's right. Yeah,
and I had actually wrote a rap part in the beginning of it,
yeah,
and I also was singing the verse, but I was bringing you on, and I had a cousin back then that was trying to get into rap, and you two were going to do something on the track but we never got around to doing that. I don't know what happened, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely want to try to make that happen.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we could talk about the concept and all that. You know, I ain't gonna get too radical on you. I know that kind of. I know I'm Malcolm X Jr. and shit, so that kind of scares you a little bit. But
Trust me, yeah, I'm down for the cause.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
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 So I definitely like I was talking about doing songs together. I mean, one could be like a fun type song, and the other one could be like a a conscious, empowering type song. You
Hmm.
know, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I got to jump off the line. It was good chatting with you, man. I didn't know
But
that story that you had about
before I
with the
go,
cop.
yeah, wait a minute. Say that again. One more time about the cop.
Yeah. I didn't know about that story you shared. That's heavy, man. That happened to you.
Yeah,
Um,
that wasn't the only time. It's
yeah.
happened more than once. But yeah, I'll never forget it. I mean, I've had my face slammed into the hood of a car and my lip busted open by another cop. And even since I've been living where I'm living at now, like back in 2006 when had locks, when I had locks, because we all had locks at some period, but I was growing locks back then, and I wish I hadn't cut them because before I cut my hair was right here on my shoulder, but
Mm,
you know, a little bit past my shoulder when I cut them. But anyway, I was coming from getting my hair done at this place called Nappy by Nature, and I was
mhm,
right there by the school. I live on Linden Avenue. Well, I should be saying where I live at, but I'm right there by the school. People crazy out here. And what happened was I was crossing North Avenue. The light was about to change, and I was trying to get across the street. And during that time is when the flip phones were out in the early 2000, 2006. And I was holding on to my belt because my phone was clipped onto my belt. And so my phone wouldn't come up when I was running across the street. So I got around the corner and I was like almost to my house. And this cop pulled up on me. Now, he was just harassing me. He didn't really think that there was anything wrong. He claimed that he thought I might have a gun. He didn't really think I had a gun on me, though.
mm,
See, he's told me to lift my shirt up because he wanted to see if I had a gun on me. I'm like, I think that. I saw you holding your waist. I said I was holding onto my phone so it wouldn't fall out while I was crossing the street. Now, the reason why I said that he didn't really think that I had a gun on me because he stayed seated in his car the whole time. He stayed seated in his car and he was set back. He sat back in his seat, um, like he wasn't the least bit worried that I might have a gun on me. Because if he really thought I had a gun on me, his body language and everything would have been different. He would have gotten out of his car. But he just felt like harassing me because he see he felt like harassing me because he saw me as an N-word, as a nigger.
mm,
That's what he saw. So he felt like harassing a nigger. That's why he harassed me. So I said, I'm not lifting up my shirt. He said, if you don't lift up your shirt, I'm gonna take you in. So I lifted up my shirt and I had attitude when I did it, but if I really had a gun on me, because he stayed seated in his car the whole time, if I really had a gun on me, I could have, you know, I don't say that, but you know what I'm saying. But
mm,
he didn't really think that I had a gun on me. He didn't really think that at all. He just felt like harassing me because I'm black, you know. So I've had several cases like that happen, and I've been physically assaulted by cops on at least two occasions. Like the one I told you about where the one grabbed me around my neck, stuff like that, and the one where he slammed my face into the hood of the car and busted my lip open, stuff like that. So,
yeah.
anyway, I'm gonna let you go, but I'm gonna do my little thing before you go. Would you want to say something else?
No, that's it. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for being here for the first episode of the TheCnote, where we keep it 100, where the real recognize real, and we see them fake asses out there too. I'm Cortez Ransom, and thank you, David, for being
All
here. I love you,
right.
brother.
Love
All
you,
right.
man. Thank you.
All right. Peace.
Later.
Later.